Superior Middle School welcomes students back to class today after a man crashed a car into the school after allegedly shooting a police officer.
Northern News Now's Ella Schoberl joins us live outside the school tonight. Ella, it had to be an anxious day for parents and kids there.
Absolutely, Dan and Laura. As you can see behind me here, the van crashed through the front doors of the school, and crews have done a pretty good job of patching things up since Sunday. And at school pickup today, I spoke with officials and students who said that today seems like a pretty typical school day, but parents I spoke to said that leading up to today, they had to have some difficult conversations with their kids. Jesse Peterson was shaken after hearing that Sunday's officer-involved shooting suspect crashed into his daughter's school, armed with a gun, and barricaded himself inside that empty building for 4 hours. The damage forcing students to learn virtually during the cleanup. And now, 4 days later, they're back to class in person. But before going back, Peterson sat down with his daughter.
I did have a long conversation with my daughter. She had a lot of questions about what's going on.
His daughter, Serenity, nervous about going back to school.
I was kind of nervous about how much people were gonna just the things that were gonna be said about it, and the rumors or things that didn't happen to make people feel more scared and stuff like that.
In an email sent out to parents, Superior Middle School leaders stated the building is secure and students will be offered extra mental health services, including counselors on staff and extra support from teachers. Parents commended the school's communication and police's quick response.
Everything was done well and in a timely manner, so I was quite confident in sending my child back to school.
And thanks to that clear communication, both parents and students felt good about going back to school Thursday.
I felt pretty good coming back, and yeah, I felt safe and things like that.
Middle school principal Aaron Lieberts also made an announcement to students this morning speaking on the incident. He emphasized that today was a typical day and that the students did well. Live in Superior, Ella Schoberl, Northern News Now.
Thank you, Ella.